Hi guys, I'm Chambo. Today we're going to be talking about 3 techniques that you can be using to improve your efficiency and effectiveness in learning new vocabulary and grammar concepts. I used these tricks when I was learning Korean and Mandarin Chinese, and I know they're going to be helpful for you too. The 3 techniques that we're going to be looking at are thematic learning, active self-immersion, and crazy mnemonics. The first concept that's insanely important is thematic learning. Thematic learning is when you're exposed to a new vocabulary or grammar concept in the context of a natural form of language, like an article, a conversation, or a presentation. This is really important when learning a language because language is so heavily focused on contextual cues. According to Jack Richards, it's a lot easier to recall a list of words that are grouped or organized in a meaningful way, as compared with trying to recall a list of words that are simply organized alphabetically. That's because our minds work by semantically linking related items. In my studies, I've encountered so many books that try to shove vocabulary and grammar concepts down your throat without any context. And guess what? They're absolutely useless. It's the equivalent of trying to learn a language from a dictionary. Without any context cues, you have no way of remembering that knowledge. Instead of these grammar or vocabulary focused books or these mobile applications, I highly recommend, especially for beginner and intermediate learners, to get a quality textbook and bust it out. If you get your hands on a quality textbook, you're following a well-arranged curriculum that was created by a linguistic expert. So the pacing and the content that you're being exposed to is much more meaningful. The second concept that is incredibly useful is active self-immersion. For most language learners, you don't have the opportunity to be living in and immersing yourself in a country where the language you're learning is spoken. And even then, I've met so many people that either live in the country or even were born in the country and they don't speak a lick of the language. In the former case, we have a lack of immersion because we're not able to just pack our bags and move to another country. And without that immersion, we're not able to actively test our knowledge and receive constant feedback from our natural environment. In the latter case, even if we're in that environment, we haven't set ourselves up in a way where we actually want to absorb that external input. The best alternative is for us to set up a natural learning environment that we can immerse ourselves in within our home countries. For most people, the best way to do this is to transform your natural habitat into a zone of enjoyable learning. I used to blast K-pop at home, at my retail job in a Bogan area, when I was in the shower, and I would print out lyrics to put them on the other side of the window so I could sing along. I changed my phone language into Korean. At one point I had post-it notes all over my house just scattered across furniture and appliances just so that I could remember those nouns. If you can create an environment where you're constantly being exposed to the language that you're learning, and you're able to actively engage with it by making it enjoyable, your brain has no choice but to start adapting. The third and final tip for memorizing vocabulary and grammar concepts is crazy mnemonics. Putting aside the scientific jargon, mnemonics is when you're able to link a new piece of knowledge with something that already exists. That might be through phrases, so never eat soggy Weet-Bix when you're learning northeast, southwest in English. Or if you're learning a character in a new language, I specifically remember the character Ma in Japanese because it looks like a telephone pole that you're calling your mother with. Those are traditional mnemonics. Crazy mnemonics is something that I just came up with. It's not that different, but what is important is that you make the mnemonic yourself and you make it absolutely ridiculous, which is why it's called crazy mnemonics. The moment I realized how effective this could be is back when I was in a Korean class in my second year of learning, and we were learning a new grammar construct, which was saying, in order for B to occur, A must happen first. And I would always get it confused. Does the A come first or the B come first? After days and days of study and confusion, I came up with a sentence, and it's a bit inappropriate, but I've never been able to forget that concept ever since. 애기를 납치해야 변태가 될 수 있다. Now, it may not be the most logical sentence or the most appropriate, but that's the point. The more insane that you're able to get, the more unique that memory becomes in your brain and the easier it is to recall that information. So there we go. Those are my 3 favorite tips for rote learning new vocabulary and grammar concepts. You have thematic learning, active self-immersion, and crazy mnemonics. I'm cutting the video around here because they're starting to vacuum just outside my door. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what other content you would like to see in the future because you drive my strategy. Ciao.